Did you know that an 1/8-inch crack in a pipe can cause over 250 gallons of water to come out a day? Today we're going to talk about pipes freezing, how to prevent them, some stops that you have to do, some ways that you can prevent them from continuing, and what also you can do if you have a claim. On a recent article from State Farm, they released some of the stats, and it says 32,000 claims from August of 2022 to August of 2023. That's over $806 million worth of claims. In Michigan specifically, we've had about $22 million in claims, which is nothing compared to the big number, but that's still a lot of money. For those of us that have pipes that have frozen or water's leaking, then there's some different pieces that your insurance may or may not cover. Let's dive in. So what do we have to look out for? Anytime the temperature goes below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, that's essentially below zero. Anytime we're in the below zero, that tends to allow the pipes to freeze. For those of you that don't have the right home built for that situation, you may want to look and just verify that you're protected. The three main causes is sudden drop in temperature, which we recently just had in Michigan, also having not the correct insulation on your home, and the thermostats not being the correct temperature to heat the home to the point where the pipes won't freeze. So with the first piece, insulating the pipes is the easiest route to fix this scenario. If you want to look at your pipes underneath your sink, in the attic, anywhere you're near a wall, the closer you are to the outside edge, the more insulation you need to have. When you're checking those insulated pipes, if you're not insulated, obviously get a contractor or go ahead and insulate them yourself. In that scenario, you need to use what's called heat tape. And heat tape will essentially seal the heat inside of that pipe so that when water flows through it, when the cold air hits in, whether it's a PVC pipe or a galvanized pipe, it doesn't make a difference. It's difference in material and freezing ability, but those all freeze. We have claims with both of them. So in that scenario, you want to make sure that you have the insulation on the pipes correctly. The third piece is you also want to check for air leaks. Air leaks cause a lot of the issues with the cold air coming in. I recently added a hose to the outside of our house, and I recently noticed that no one sealed it. So I have to go out there and caulk that spot and make sure that I have some type of insulation so that pipe doesn't freeze. Now the benefit of what I've done there is when we did that, we added a shutoff valve in the house. So we have the shutoff valve where we turn the water off and then it goes outside and then we turn that one off. So even if the pipe gets cold, it still has the ability to freeze at the shutoff point, but it's the extra layer of protection so that if it does get cold, it's less likely to have a freeze. In my scenario, it's actually in my ceiling, so it's insulated all over there. But when you have air coming in, that's one spot that could come in. The other part is look at your electrical box. Any wire, any hose, any way that something goes outside of your home, if you can see through it or feel the draft, then there's a chance that your pipes, if they're near there, could freeze. The fourth way to protect that is to let warm water drip through the pipes overnight. So if you're afraid that may happen, turn on a faucet, turn on the bathtub just a little bit so you get some dripping through and make sure it's the warm water. Warm water flowing through pipes might not seem like that's going to be a major fix, but anytime you see water flowing, it's less likely that water is going to stay in that pipe for that time. And what's happening is when water sits and gets cold and cold and cold and colder and colder, then eventually it freezes. But if there's warm water constantly moving, slowly dripping through just little bits, it might get cold, but then it shifts and then more warm water comes through. That alone can make a huge difference. A really quick, simple way, number 5, is to just open up the cabinets. If you have your heater going and the cabinets are blocking that hot air from going in, you may notice opening your cabinets actually might make the house a little bit colder. Yeah, your heat bill's gonna go up a little bit, but it's better than having to file a claim or find out if you have to file a claim when your pipes freeze. Opening those cabinets, letting the heat get to the pipes that are closest to the walls can help just a little bit extra. And the 6th, I think, way is to turn the heat up, especially if you're on vacation. If you're not keeping the house at 55 degrees or above, there's a good chance that your pipes will freeze. It's not very warm. In our house, I think we're close to 70 degrees, 68. I think it was 65 last night, and I had to crank it up a couple degrees because I was just freezing. That helps. Having 55 degrees or higher when you are not home is going to be helpful to keep those pipes warm. I know a lot of people try to get to that 50. Let's just cool the house down. A lot of people don't realize it usually costs you more money to keep it low and then crank it on when you get home. It's better to have kind of a slow heat, maybe 55, 60 throughout the day, than it is to make it cold and then make it hot again. If you do notice that your pipes have frozen and you've turned on a faucet and nothing happens, the next step that you need to take is don't necessarily shut off that valve. You want to leave that open in case it unthaws, and then the water can slowly start to flow through. What you can do is heat up the pipes. And I agree that you shouldn't use a flame, according to the article, is you should always use a hairdryer or something that can slowly warm up a pipe. Don't necessarily go straight to the cold area because you want the water to flow through the pipe. So start with the faucet, heat the way back to the frozen area, assuming that we even know where it is, but just work your way through the pipe until you start to get the water coming back. The biggest key is to keep an eye out for leaks. If the pipe froze and the pipe cracks, then what can happen is you could have a major issue on your hands. That's where having a water backup coverage on your policy makes a huge difference. Now in this scenario, it's not water trying to leave the house, so the water backup wouldn't kick in. It would just be your standard policy that would kick in. If you have water leaking, depending on how bad it is, you may have to go shut off the main water line. That's one thing that you and everyone in your family should know is where is that main water shut off? In ours, it's in the basement underneath a set of stairs. You may have it in different locations. If you're not sure or familiar where it is, call a local remediation company. A lot of times they'll come out for free and they'll tag the main water line for you and show you where that is just to help you prevent those future issues. If it does start leaking, get all of your valuables off the ground as much as you can. If you notice that there's water's coming through, try to get towels, shut off the line, call a plumber. If the plumber gets involved and you have to file a claim on your insurance, you want to make sure that you've done everything that you could to stop and prevent future damage. A lot of times insurance companies will even pay you for your time if it takes a long time for you to process and for you to clean up and try to get that issue. If they save money, they're willing to give you back just as much as they would have paid a company to do it. Now that's not every policy. You want to talk to your local agent to make sure that is on your policy, that is a scenario that would be covered. So next time you peek your head up in the attic or you go looking around and just wondering how cold it is outside, think maybe I should just check my pipes real quick and make sure that we don't have a major issue. Having coverage is great, but going through the claim is a pain. Nobody wants to do that. If you are shopping around for new insurance, I'll put a link in the description below where we work with all sorts of different companies. Love to help you out. Otherwise, I'm Mark with Valor Insurance. We'll see you soon.